This is an ordinary Japanese house, 36 years old, 2 stories, wooden. A couple in their 70s live in it, and they are not going anywhere. They were planning a renovation because they wanted fewer steps to climb. Then, somebody put a price on their home. In Japan, the value of a property can be split in two: the land underneath and the building standing on it. Those two numbers are estimated separately, and the building, the one somebody is still living in, still cooking in, still sleeping in, can come back as zero. In their case, the land was estimated at 11.26 million yen. The house, the one they live in, was estimated at zero. Not condemned, not abandoned, not for sale, just worth nothing on paper. The house had not disappeared. The market simply might not pay for it. A buyer may see repair risk, or even demolition, where the owner sees a useful home. It is also why Japan has houses that sell for the price of a used car, and why that bargain can turn into a repair bill. It starts with an ordinary shortcut. When nobody knows how well a house was cared for, age becomes the answer. For anyone accustomed to treating the home price as one big number, Japan's split can feel strange, but it helps to imagine lifting the building off the lot. First, there is the land. That price carries the location, the road, the station, the view, the utilities, the school, the shape of the lot, and what can legally be built there. Then there is the structure. That is the roof, frame, walls, windows, pipes, wiring, kitchen, bath, and all the work somebody has, or has not, done to keep them going. Now, add a third number, what it costs to repair the structure, and sometimes a fourth, what it costs to remove it. That official 36-year-old house makes the difference unusually clear. The owners were still living there. They were considering an accessibility renovation, not starring in a story about a collapsing ruin. The land had a price. The building estimate did not. That zero was not a verdict on the owner's memories, or even a declaration that the house could no longer do its job. It was a market answer to a narrower question. How much of the sale price can be confidently assigned to this older structure? Sometimes that answer is close to nothing. If a buyer plans to rebuild, the existing house may arrive with a removal bill. In a low price area, demolition can cost more than the land itself. A housing ministry-backed report used a simple example: building value 0, land worth 2 million yen, demolition costing 3 million. That is an illustration, not a universal price. But the arithmetic explains how a free building can make a property more expensive. So where do the cheap houses come from? Japan counted about 9 million vacant homes in its latest housing survey, nearly 14% of the entire housing stock. Not all of them are ruins. Not all of them are for sale. But when the building is worth nothing, an asking price can collapse to whatever the land is worth. That is the fantasy. A whole house for the price of a used car, and the fantasy is real. What the listing does not show you is that the number on the sign is only the first of several you are about to meet. A property company working with ministry support made this unusually clear. It inspected 92 vacant houses and handed each owner not one valuation, but several, what the property might fetch as house and land together, what the land alone was worth once demolition had been paid for, what it could rent for as it stood, what it could rent for after repairs, and an itemized list of the repairs themselves. Same house. 4 different answers. Because what is it worth was never really one question. It is a question about what you intend to do with it, and every plan arrives with a different bill attached. One American couple published every receipt from theirs. They bought an empty house on a small island for 1 million yen, about $7,500. Then came the boiler, the wiring, the plumbing, the flooring, the plaster, 25 custom tatami mats, and the fire safety work a guest house license demanded. Their reported all-in total was about $38,000. Still far below what most people pay for a complete house, but 5 times the number that made the headline. The cheap house was real, and so was the project. The difference between a bargain and a money pit is not hidden in the sticker price. It is hidden in the buyer. So why can the building number fall so quickly? The lazy answer is that Japanese houses simply last 20 or 30 years. That confuses market value with physical life. A maintained home does not vanish on its 22nd birthday. The better answer begins with information. Imagine 2 houses built in the same year. One owner kept the roof dry, repaired small leaks, replaced worn equipment, and saved every record. The other ignored problems until they spread behind the walls. If a buyer can see the difference, the first house should be worth more. But if the plans are missing, the repair history is incomplete, and no trusted inspection has made the condition easy to compare. Both houses arrive with the same obvious label: old. Age is crude. It is also wonderfully easy to put in a spreadsheet. Japan's housing ministry described this problem directly. In 2014, it said the market commonly treated the building value of an existing detached house as zero after roughly 20 to 25 years, regardless of the individual house's condition. The ministry called that practice an obstacle to a healthier resale market. The transaction data show a similar pattern without pretending every house follows one exact line. In a nationwide study of detached house sales, researchers estimated that the recognized structure value could lose about half during the first 10 years. After that, it declined more slowly toward age 30. But the later data also matter. The early drop became less severe in newer transaction periods. It was smaller in urban areas than rural ones. So this is not one permanent rule applied equally to a Tokyo house, an island guest house, and a home in a shrinking town. It is a strong old habit, with local exceptions, already beginning to move. A pricing shortcut sounds like paperwork, but it changes what people do to real buildings. Suppose you own a 15-year-old house and the roof needs work. Fixing it makes the home safer and more comfortable. But will the next buyer pay you back for it? If the market mainly sees the construction year, your repair may improve the house without improving the offer. Maintenance becomes something you do for yourself, not an investment you can confidently recover. Now stand on the buyer's side. A new house offers known specifications, a layout chosen for your family, and current equipment. The older house may offer better materials or more space, but also detective work. Is that stain old or active? Was the wall moved correctly? What is behind the new wallpaper? How expensive will the next standard change be? None of those questions means the old house is bad. They mean uncertainty has a price. The result can become a loop. Thin records make older homes harder to trust. Harder to trust homes receive lower building estimates. Lower estimates weaken the resale payoff from maintenance. Fewer well-documented resales give the next buyer even less evidence. Rebuilding can then feel rational, even when part of the old house still works. Earthquakes are part of the buyer's concern, but not a magic one-word explanation. Energy performance, moisture, pests, access, plumbing, and wiring can matter too. Demographics can crush demand in one town, while valuable land keeps the complete price high somewhere else. The point is not that Japanese buyers dislike history. It is that a house with an uncertain history asks the buyer to pay for questions as well as rooms. Here is the hopeful part. An information problem can be changed. Japan now has systems meant to make an existing house easier to read. A building condition inspection can look for visible deterioration in the foundation exterior and other critical areas. Insurance and certification can give buyers more evidence about performance and repair. An inspection is not a magic shield. It cannot promise that no hidden problem exists. But we looked, here is the report, is a very different product from, it is old. Good luck. The price data suggests buyers notice. In Tokyo area detached home transactions studied by Masatomo Suzuki and a co-author, certification for long-life housing performance was associated with a price premium of about 5%, regardless of age. Other warranty and mortgage-related certificates also carried premiums, with some of the largest differences among older properties. That does not mean attaching a certificate automatically prints money. Better homes may be more likely to qualify in the first place, but it does show something important. When quality becomes visible, age is no longer the only answer. The Housing Ministry's newer appraisal guidance follows the same idea. Separate the long-lived structure from the equipment that wears out sooner. Recognize maintenance. Recognize renovation when it restores function. Stop pretending that every same-age house is the same house. This also changes the meaning of zero. It stops being a countdown clock and becomes a challenge. What evidence would persuade the next buyer that this particular building deserves another number? For an owner, that evidence might be plans, inspection reports, repair records, warranties, or recognized performance. For a buyer, it becomes a way to distinguish a genuine bargain from a beautifully photographed problem. The market pays more when it can see what survived. So return to that house, the one worth nothing on paper, with somebody still living inside it. The right question was never, why is Japan giving houses away? Nobody is giving anything away. A low price opens a door. It does not walk you through the repair bill, the license, or the renovation. Before you treat any cheap older house as a bargain, ask 5 questions. How much of the price is the land? What does an inspection say about the building today? What must be repaired, licensed, or brought up to the standard required for your plan? What would removal cost if that plan changes? And finally, what use creates value for you? That last question is the one a market estimate cannot answer. A building may be worth little to a buyer who wants an empty lot and a great deal to someone who wants exactly those rooms, has the skills to restore them, or can turn them into a home or business. A cheap house does not prove that every empty house is treasure. It proves something more useful. A small purchase price can open a door, but what waits on the other side is a project, and the project is priced separately. And the couple we started with shows the other side. Their building estimate was 0, yet their question was how to remove a few steps and keep living there. The market had one number. Their life had another. That is the different rule. In Japan, the land, the building, and the life inside it can carry 3 very different values. The market can call a building worthless. That does not make it useless. It means the next owner needs to know exactly what kind of value they are trying to build.